Congress faces a big week ahead in the ongoing investigation into the dead sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. Tomorrow, Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell will testify remotely before the House Oversight Committee. Her lawyer told MS Now this week she will exercise her Fifth Amendment right to stay silent. Tomorrow is also when the Justice Department is allowing members of Congress to review the unredacted versions of the 3 million recently released Epstein files. Joining us now is Congresswoman Melanie Stanton.
Guys, thanks so much for joining me. John Soto, this is SotoCast. Yeah, they're going to allow them to review 3 million documents unredacted. They're going to say, here are the documents. Good luck. That's probably how it's going to go down. Obviously, they can't bring any recording devices in. So unless they have photographic memory, I don't know how much more they're going to get out of this. But let's see what MS Now has to say about it. I'm sure they're going to be, perfectly right down the middle and not trying to lead their audience one way or another at all.
Of New Mexico, who serves on the House Oversight Committee. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're going to get into Ghislaine Maxwell and all of that, but there were also other depositions that are coming. Ghislaine Maxwell, as I said, is on February 9th. February 26th and 27th, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, respectively. Respectively? We're moving on.
Respectively.
Thank you very much.
It's Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's Sunday morning.
It is Sunday morning, and he probably shouldn't be a news anchor, but whatever.
You voted in favor of holding Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton in contempt if they weren't to testify. There's a lot of Democrats who have a lot of questions about the 9 folks that voted in favor of holding Bill Clinton in contempt and the 3 that voted to hold Hillary Clinton in contempt. You did both. Talk to people about why you did that. What precedent were you trying to set?
Yeah, well, I think it's really important for people to understand the context of this vote. The vote actually never went to the House floor, and it's important to understand that James Comer, the chairman of the committee, is not holding Pam Bondi in contempt. He's not holding Todd Blanche in contempt, who've been lying to the American people about this case, but politically chose to hold the Clintons in contempt after they did not appear on the morning of their scheduled deposition. And the truth is, they didn't appear, and they did notify the committee shortly before they were scheduled to appear, but they didn't attend. And so it was very important, I felt, in the committee vote to establish that this is not negotiable. If Congress subpoenas anybody, whether you're a former or a sitting president, you appear before Congress. And so for me, it's about preserving the subpoena power of Congress and the investigatory powers of Congress, especially as the #1 individual who is named in the Epstein files is Donald Trump himself. And in fact, he has already voiced to Republicans that he is scared of being held in contempt and hauled in front of the committee over this case.
And that's where it all goes. And that's why essentially Trump was saying that he was, not happy with them going after Bill. This is going to get very messy. It's going to get very sticky. He knew that. Everyone knew that. That's why they were trying to hold off on all this stuff. But the mudslinging is going to begin, and they are not going to back down from this. They're going to go scorched earth, I think, across the board. And it's going to get really, really ugly. I think he kind of knew that. I think they all knew that. They're still trying to do damage control. It's not working out very well. Don't know how this is all going to pan out in the end, but it's just an absolute disaster on all counts. Like everyone we knew that was going to be is implicated, and it's a fucking mess.
Yeah, I think that's right. A lot of folks want to see President Trump doing the same thing that Bill Clinton's going to do. But on the Hillary Clinton of it all, I don't think we've seen Hillary Clinton's name in the Epstein files. Why vote in contempt of her as well?
Well, she was subpoenaed. And so,
what did you want to hear from Hillary Clinton if her name wasn't in the files? It's a better question.
Well, let me be clear. The vote that we took was about the failure to appear for a deposition. It was not a broader statement in terms of my vote about whether or not they have information. I don't know if she has information or not. We know that Bill Clinton's name appears many times within the files. And I think any individual who's named in the files who may have information about Epstein and the network of not only individuals that were involved in sex trafficking, but money laundering, influence peddling, and now we're seeing foreign governments in which he was trading information. I think it's very important that they appear in front of the committee.
Yeah.
Do you think it's fair, though, Congresswoman, that the former Secretary of State is going to have to potentially answer questions about someone's conduct that is not herself, that is going to maybe go into some uncomfortable personal details when, again, she has exhibited no connection to the Epstein files?
Hillary Clinton was subpoenaed by Congress, and the committee voted on a bipartisan basis to subpoena both of the Clintons, and they have negotiated to appear. And I think anybody who knows Hillary Clinton knows she can hold her own. And she is saying, let me at it, turn on the cameras. I'm ready to tell my story. So, she will have her time to tell her story. And I'm grateful that she is making.
Let's make it clear. This is all about Trump in the end. That's what this is all about. And they know that. And the Clintons are going to go there. When they go there, They're probably gonna go scorched earth. They're probably gonna throw everything at them. What else at this point? What else do they have to lose? What do they have to lose? I mean, Hillary's not going to become president. Bill is not going to be able to, whatever girls he's got left hanging around, they're still going to be around after all this. So, at this point, they might just say F it and just throw everybody under the bus. Now, let's see if they make it to the hearing now, because with the amount of stuff that they have, I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of deals being made. There's going to be a lot of negotiations and discussions happening behind the scenes. This is going to be a wild one.
Making a public statement.
And have you had any conversations with your Republican colleagues about starting the process of calling Donald Trump to testify?
We have a list of individuals that we would like to subpoena, and I think that the Republicans know very well that we would like to subpoena Donald Trump. Certainly, he has a lot of questions to answer.
Congresswoman, let's talk about somebody, one, who is super relevant to this conversation, and two, who is actually going to testify before your committee, and that is Ghislaine Maxwell. We were talking around the table trying to understand, what is the committee going to get from testimony from Ghislaine Maxwell that isn't already out there in the transcripts of her very unusual interview with the Deputy Attorney General of the United States, who just so happens to be the former personal attorney of Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers have notified the committee that she doesn't plan to share any information and is planning to invoke her Fifth Amendment rights in the deposition tomorrow. I'm currently in New Mexico. I'm planning to fly back tonight so that I can attend in person. She'll be Zooming in remotely from prison. But listen, she didn't even take the stand in her own trial in which she was convicted of sex trafficking with 20-year prison sentence. She has clearly been covering not only her own tracks, but shielding other co-conspirators and the very wealthy elite circles in which she traversed and trafficked underage girls to. And we would hope that she would come in and actually provide useful information that would lead to further investigations and potential convictions of those individuals. But it appears that she does not plan to do that. I think that we have to put this all in the context of that, as I said, Donald Trump is the #1 named individual. There's over 3 dozen of his associates, including his wife. Howard Lutnick was apparently in business with Jeffrey Epstein. We know that Elon Musk was talking about going and partying on his island. I mean, I joked, but it's like the entire Trump administration is a Epstein Island after party. And so why is she remaining silent? And I think it's very clear that she is seeking either a commutation or a pardon of her sentence. That's based on not only what she's done in the courts, but, Donald Trump made an offhanded comment yet again about giving her a pardon. And I mean, I think between the highly unusual transfer of her to Club Fed and him talking openly about pardoning her, it appears that he's buying her silence. And I think it's really important that we hear what she has to share. It's about getting justice for the victims, and it's about convicting individuals who were involved in crimes.
Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury.
Yeah, and where was she all the years ago when, they had all of it, right? Biden was in office. They were all in power. And nobody seemed to give a shit about any of this stuff. So there are the dates, the scheduled dates as of now. This is going to be a wild February. February is going to be wild. Ghislaine, we're not going to get anything out of her. She's slated for the 9th. By the time this airs, she'll probably already be doing it. But Hillary and Bill, man, that's going to be, man. I tell you, it's either going to be an absolute shit show or it's going to be a nothing burger. One or the other. I mean, if they go up there and they start pleading the Fifth, it's going to be wild, but there's not much is going to come of it. Bill probably has a little bit more to worry about, obviously. And I say this on two folds. One, because obviously his name is mentioned, his name in the files, not just being named in the files, but the photographs and the stuff that they were talking about. Trump so far, there's a couple of wild things here and there, but on the whole, you could see he wasn't kind of like, they were really talking more about Trump. It wasn't really much, it wasn't like Trump corresponding with Epstein. Hillary, though, she's still very skilled. She was, take it for what it's worth, whether you think she was a good lawyer or a bad lawyer, she's a very sharp individual. You can't get around that. Now, Bill was a sharp politician, but this is this is a deposition. This is not something that you take very lightly. This is something that can get you in a massive amount of trouble if you don't handle it correctly. I'm sure their legal counsel is going to be right there, right next to them. And we're going to see how this goes, guys. It's going to be pretty interesting. Thank you so much for joining me here. Subscribe to the channel, please. Thank you for all the new subs. If you want to follow me on X, 6283 Talk is me on the X. I am John Soto. See you in the next video, guys. Take care.